welcome to the Plant Empowered Woman Show. I'm live with Dr. Patel here, and today we are talking about getting back to work and life and school with COVID-19. So let us know if you're on here. Let us know if you have seen Dr. Patel before. He is a plant-based physician and endocrinologist that I work often with, who often comes to our retreats and does special sessions with us. And now he's doing a special session for us in the Plant Empowered Woman group. Patty's here. She says she sees us and she hears us. So Dr. Patel, what do we need to know about COVID-19 right now that we're considering going back to work, back to school, and what do we really need to know right now?
The first thing that we need to do is stop watching news.
Stop watching news.
I'm being serious because the amount of negativity out in the news and the reporting which does not fully cover the whole scenario. So what I mean by that is, yes, cases are going up. There is no denying that fact. Cases are going up. Mm-hmm. But the case fatality rate, the CFR, is going down, which is the number of deaths per the number of cases. Uh-huh. And the recovery rate, meaning the number of people recovering from COVID-19, is also going up drastically. So yes, cases are going up, but to a large extent, that is also going up because we are now seeing relatively healthier people getting the minor COVID infections, and we are finding them out because we are testing so much. Yeah. And because we are testing, we are finding more cases, but the intensity of the cases is not the same as it was 4 months ago or 5 months ago. So I get emails from 2 different hospital systems in Tampa Bay area, and on a weekly, daily basis updates. And end of June, first week of July, we did have a spike and the cases were high. And we were seeing more people ending up in the hospital. But in the last week of July and into the first week of August, the cases are going down. The number of people that needed ventilation support with COVID-19 is also gone down. So the intensity of cases is definitely going down, and which is what we also need to fully understand, and not just focus on numbers, because this focus on numbers and not looking at other aspects of that is causing more anxiety.
It does cause anxiety. So you're saying stop watching the news so much. It's really causing anxiety for school teachers. And I have many school teachers in this group and some on this live stream. Another one, Christine, is here. And she says, thank you so much for hosting this event. She's heading back to the classroom this month and she wants to be prepared. And so is Patty. Trish is here. Dr. Patel is the best. Already helped me get off my blood pressure medicine and improve many other areas of my labs. Trisha's doing great. Yes.
Credit also goes to her for doing those changes. You know, it would only work if she makes those changes. So
she does the work. Yes, she's a member of my Plant Empowered Woman 12-week weight loss group, and she's lost 37 pounds. And it has been absolutely amazing to watch her go through this. So what else do we need to know about COVID-19 as we head back into the office or back into the classroom?
So obviously there are, mandates, county specific or statewide wearing mask. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying wearing mask is not necessary. Wearing mask has a role. There is a role, but wearing a N95 mask with a respirator is not a good mask to wear, because you're actually, it's a two-way process and you don't want something that can go in.
Yeah.
So wearing a mask, either a surgical mask or if you have a fabric mask, the issue with the fabric mask is it's going to stay more moist. And the more moisture you maintain around your nose, it's going to harbor more bacteria. So one way is to make sure that you are not having extended periods of wearing a mask, that you have a few minutes break every hour or so, that you can at least have it exposed to sun. It gets some sunlight, which is a natural disinfectant. And secondly, wearing a mask for long hours, you are affecting your oxygen levels. You're affecting the way your body perceives temperature. Body temperature relies on a lot of input from our skin. Our skin has receptors which picks us temperature. So having a mask on all the time kind of misinterprets what signals the body is getting in terms of external temperature. And that modulation in the body temperature regulation system can also flow into your immune system. So yes, mask is, if you're in a crowded place, wearing a mask makes sense. But if you are not in a crowded place, you're by yourself, wearing a mask in that situation is going to create more harm to you.
Yeah. So for teachers, how does this affect teachers at school?
So obviously, as I said, if they're in a hallway full of people, they're wearing a mask, or if they're in a classroom, I think if they can have a situation where they can be 6 feet away from the children, and then when they're teaching, I think wearing a mask would be really difficult when you're trying to talk and teach and do things. So if there's a way that the schools have some acrylic, transparent
barriers
in front of the first row of benches or something, and that way they can prevent them from having to wear the mask all the time, and limit the amount of because wearing it all the time is going to affect your oxygen status, which we need a lot of oxygen, especially when you're talking, you're doing things, you need more oxygen. So I have to wear a mask because of the county mandate, and talking with patients wearing a mask is not a fun experience.
Yeah, it's hard. Would it also be helpful if you had 2 or 3 masks with you that you could interchange them?
Yeah, so that would
and
be
wash
good.
them? Yeah.
So either having a place where you can put it in a transparent box that gets sunlight, and that gets disinfected while it's sitting there, so that way you can rotate them.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Throughout the day is what I'm saying, like rotate them throughout the day. So if you feel it getting moist or warm, take that one off, get another one.
Yeah. So having that would be definitely handy and quite practical to, not just keep bringing into that same mask all day long, and having some break in terms of disinfection.
So in terms of COVID-19 and the policies, we still have like the social distancing, we still have the mask thing. Is there anything new that we don't know about?
No, nothing new, but what people may not fully realize is mask and distance works, but the best defense is hand washing.
Hand
Not
washing.
just relying on hand sanitizers, but washing your hands for 20 seconds at least, covering all the surfaces, not just doing this and being done, and making sure that you're not involuntarily, because we have the habit of touching our eyes, touching our nose, touching our face with our fingers, and consciously prevent from doing that. I had that habit too, but since the last 5 months, I can maybe count on my fingertips how many times I do that, because I'm now more conscious of it. And I'm actively not doing it. Because you could get something on your hands, or you could get something from the surfaces that you're touching, but unless it comes onto your face, you're not going to get that as much
inside. So for children, teaching them how to simply wash their hands more often, and getting children also 2 or 3 masks to use throughout the day.
And again, I don't have a big study to quote, but this is something that's kind of a practical step and it's fairly easy and it does not have any side effects, is getting some castor oil
Mhm.
and using that just before you head to work. Blow your nose, clean it out, and then just take a little bit of castor oil and circle it around in your nostrils on both the sides. And so you create another barrier for the virus to not completely stick onto, and go further, but come out when you rinse your nose periodically. So that's
Wow.
another easy and simple step, safer, and does not involve any, no side effects.
And it's vegan, so that's good. So that's one that I had not heard of, so I'm definitely going to do that. So hand washing, frequent changing of masks, using a little bit of castor oil to line your nostrils on the inside. Um, Now, what about traveling?
So traveling, if it's necessary, do it by all means. Taking the precautions. If
Those
you're in
same precautions.
hand washing, preventing. If you're in a public space, wear the mask. But if you're not in a public space, you're traveling in a car. Then you don't have to wear a mask. I see people on the road driving and wearing a mask inside
Don't
their
need to
car.
do
That's a
that.
big no-no.
Yeah,
You
and it's
don't
hot in
need to do.
there. Yeah,
You don't need to do that.
good to know.
So, so
Good to
that's
know.
and then making.
Pat, Patty's asking, what about a face shield?
You can wear a face shield, but again, how long are you going to wear a face shield? It's going to be easier than a mask because you're not having that close contact, and
Yeah.
it has a longer area that it covers. Um, but if you're fine wearing a face shield, going to public places, then go for it.
Well, Patty's a teacher, so I think she's talking about in the classroom. So
Okay,
instead
yeah.
of
So,
wearing a mask, she can have
yeah,
a face shield.
face shield would make it a lot easier to communicate and not,
Yeah,
have the downside. But it should be a face shield that goes at least below the chin,
yeah,
not
all the
just like
way.
this.
Yeah,
So it should cover your whole face.
makes sense. Linda says she has a UV box to clean her masks.
Yeah, so UV, is a way of cleaning the things, and if you have that kind of a gadget that you can put the mask in and it cleans it, that's the easier way.
Okay. All right. So that's like the particulars about COVID-19. So let's talk about strengthening our bodies and our immunity. So what can we do to strengthen our bodies, and what role does maintaining a normal weight, a normal blood chemistry, and a plant-based diet play in that?
So when you're eating a lot of whole plant foods, you are providing your body a lot of phytonutrients and the fiber, which is the best recipe for the best gut health.
Gut
And,
health. Yeah.
and a healthier microbiome means a healthier immune system. And a healthier immune system means you're more prepared to fight off any infections. So providing it the right amount of beans and vegetables and colored fruit, different variety of fruits and whole grains, a handful of nuts to get essential fatty acids, and doing that on a consistent basis. If you do it one day and not do it the rest of the week, it's not going to benefit you as much if you do it consistently every day. So consistency is the key. If that means that you may be able to do better eating, eating better at 2 meals a day versus, and maybe not do as well as on the third meal, that is better than saying, just because I cannot make it completely healthy, I'm not going to do it at all.
So how about this? What role does eating animal foods and oils and processed foods and sugar and all of those kinds of things, what role does that have in weakening your body and your immunity?
So all those foods cause something called chronic inflammation.
Yeah.
And chronic inflammation is like hundreds of fires going, micro fires going in your body, and your immune system is just in midst of all that, doesn't know what's body and what's not body, and it just keeps targeting everything. And so it's like it's so busy fighting that it doesn't have the right capacity to fight off infections.
That makes sense.
And it affects your sugar numbers, and it affects your cholesterol numbers, and it affects cells to cause more abnormal growth. So chronic inflammation also leads you down the path of more chronic lifestyle diseases like diabetes and high blood pressure and high cholesterol. So
and high blood pressure too, which makes it difficult to handle the stress and the anxiety that you may feel about this.
and we know that weight, people who have higher weight have higher chances of, catching COVID-19. But
Yeah.
if you have so much weight, not weight, but if you have so much stress about the weight, that's going to work against it and make things worse. So while you're trying to make sure you eat more whole plant foods and you're trying to lose weight, I don't want you to focus on so much that you start stressing about it to a point that it starts affecting you adversely.
Yes, yes. So then it's very important, as much as you can, to stick to fruits, vegetables, grains, and beans, and beautiful dishes made that way, and to eat in an abundant way of those foods to really strengthen your body.
And one more addition would be to eat foods that are higher in antioxidants and vitamin C. So vitamin C would be, a lot of citrus fruits, kiwi, berries,
Watermelon.
lemons, watermelons, oranges. Even kale has a lot of vitamin C. There is a particular Indian fruit called amla, AMLA.
Amla powder.
It's called Indian gooseberry. That's the name, and the biological name is Ambelica indicus, something like that. But it is loaded with antioxidants, and it is loaded with vitamin C, and you can get off of Amazon or one of the online websites. You can get organic powdered amla, and you can put a scoop of that in water, warm water, with a pinch of cinnamon and a pinch of turmeric powder, and drink that every day, which also helps to boost your immune system as an actual food, not just supplement, but an actual food that is packed with antioxidants.
Can you put those powders in your smoothie if you want to?
Yes.
Okay. Kathleen is asking, castor oil, is it always called castor oil? Is there another name for it?
Castor oil is there's only one name to it. There's a particular castor seed which is compressed, and you get the oil from it.
And do they sell it at Walgreens? They sell it on Amazon? They sell it?
Amazon, yes. You'll also find it in Indian grocery stores.
Okay.
And you should also find it at other stores too, but Amazon and Indian grocery stores for sure.
Okay. So Patty asked about the school teacher. She asked about, would it make a difference if she had an air purifier? Would that help her body fend off things if she had an air purifier in the classroom?
That may help. Now, what intensity of help does it offer? I'm not fully aware of the percentage benefit, but yes, that does help purify the air. So you're not just circling the same air. So that could be something that you can add.
So then you'd have to see like how big is the classroom and get one that is strong enough for that whole classroom.
And usually for a bigger space, you will require a purifier that has that kind of capacity.
Okay. She also asked about supplements. So what role do supplements play in strengthening our immunity? And can you go through a few that might be specifically helpful in this situation of going back to work and school and out into the world with COVID-19?
In addition to all the goodness of the whole plant foods, if we talk about supplements, and we talked about, the amla and the turmeric powder as antioxidants, but that's more of food and spice. Purely supplement wise, number one, vitamin D. Vitamin D, again, data shows that people who had better vitamin D levels did better than people who did not have good vitamin D levels.
D like David.
D like David, yes.
Okay, vitamin D. Okay.
So taking vitamin D3 Again, this is not my medical advice, but I'm just putting out a generalized dose, anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 units of vitamin D3 without any added calcium, just the D. And
No added calcium. Okay.
you take that consistently every day, so that it builds up the level. And the level you're looking at is keeping it above 40 for sure, but optimally between 50 and 70 on the lab.
What if you are a person who spends a lot of time outside every day?
So that's good. You get the sunlight, you get the connectivity with nature, which is equally important. But in terms of vitamin D, many times I don't find that to be sufficient because of many
Okay.
reasons.
Okay.
There are a lot of reasons which in terms of time, I'm not going to go into. But the best way to maintain your vitamin D is to take a supplement.
And what does vitamin D do for immunity?
It helps balance the immune system. So it helps balance the allergy response versus the infection fighting response. And so that way and lowers inflammation. So that way your immune system is in a better shape.
Okay. What
The,
other supplements? Yeah.
the second thing is, we talked about vitamin D. We talked about uh, spices. B12, not so much from the aspect of directly the immune system, but a low B12 will cause more issues with your energy and eventually affect your white blood cells and red blood cells. So keeping a good level on B12, and when you're eating plant-based, you want to make sure that you're getting a good source of B12.
So everybody who is 100% whole food plant-based or 100% vegan needs to be taking a vitamin B12
Even other
supplement.
people too, but especially for people who are completely plant-based.
Yes.
And third is zinc.
Okay.
So zinc not recommended to take on longer durations, but if you're getting back to work and you want to make sure your immune system is in good shape, then taking a zinc supplement on a daily basis for at least a month or so while you're going back to work or whatnot, would be good while you're also working on the nutrition and the vitamin D part.
Is there an optimal dosage for that, or?
50 milligrams of zinc citrate once a day is a good enough dose.
Does that pertain to, like, let's say you're going away for a week or you're going on a business trip or you really want to go somewhere for a week and you're going on an airplane? Can you take zinc for 3 weeks, the week before, the week you're away, and the week you're back? Will that help?
That should be good.
Okay. All right. What else? What other supplements?
So D, B12, zinc, and some role of iodine.
Iodine.
Iodine is a mineral that's good for the thyroid. Now, caveat there is anybody who has thyroid problems, especially overactive thyroid, should not take iodine supplements.
Okay, so anybody who has no thyroid issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no thyroid issues, you can take iodine supplement. What it does, it also provides support to your immune system.
Okay.
And the 150 micrograms of iodine, 150 to 250 micrograms of liquid iodine dosage, you can get like a bottle of iodine, and it usually has dose in that range. Some do have a very high dose, like 6,000 milligrams. So that's too much. You want anywhere somewhere between 150 to 250 micrograms of iodine a day.
Is that the same brown stuff that's used as a disinfectant?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's a lot higher dose.
Oh, okay. So look at the dose. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's pretty much in terms of the supplements.
What about vitamin C?
Vitamin C, I would rather focus on getting it from food than
Okay.
rely on a supplement. Now there are some, you have to search for, but there are some wholesome sources of vitamin C supplements that they use actual food to create those. But I think the benefit is to rather focus on actual food than rely on a vitamin C supplement.
Yeah. Christine is saying, this is so interesting. I thought my 20 minutes of daily sunshine was enough. I thought the same thing. I'm out mountain biking. I'm out walking with the dogs every day. I'm outside a lot. So I will get back to my vitamin D3.
It helps,
Yeah.
but it is because there is an issue with how we process it under the skin. It takes
Yeah.
up to 48 hours. If you shower within 48 hours, which we all do, you're going to run down the effect of the vitamin D
Had
synthesis.
no idea.
Your microbiome plays a role, the time of the year, the time of the day, all those things play a role in how much vitamin D you assimilate.
Okay, and the last question with supplements is what about probiotics? Can that help with the gut flora or not so
So
much?
when you're eating whole plant foods, your microbiome is already in a better place.
Yeah,
But if you are starting the process of eating whole plant foods, you can do a good quality probiotic for a month to replenish, especially if you want to get some faster effects. But the key is to make sure you avoid dairy and processed foods for sure, because if you consume dairy and processed foods and you take the probiotic on the other end, it's you wasting your money down the drain.
exactly. Exactly. So for that, so for gut health, the whole food plant-based diet is really key.
Yeah, you can start it with the probiotics. Another thing, you don't have to even take a probiotic. You can get some good quality sauerkraut and use that 2-3 times a week.
Sauerkraut. We don't need expensive probiotics.
Yeah,
It's good to
just
know.
get some good quality sauerkraut, or you can make your own if you are into making things or fermenting,
Yeah.
and
Um,
have that 2-3 times a week.
okay. Kimberly is saying, is 500 micrograms of D3 too much?
Microgram is too much. The dose comes in units.
Oh, IU, sorry,
So
IUs.
500 IUs is not enough.
5,000.
5,000 is okay, but you want to get your level checked.
Okay, because you
Some
said like the median dosage was 2,000 to 4,000
Yeah.
IU.
So
So she's
5,000 is
asking,
okay. 5,000 is okay, but you do want to make sure that your level is checked at some point in a few weeks to see you're not overshooting it. So
is there
5,000 should be kind of the tops on the safe limit.
is there any brand of these supplements that you like better than others? People are asking.
There, there are so many brands out there. There was
I
one
know.
which I really liked called Country Life, but their supply is backed up right now, so they're not available. It was a tiny capsule, vegan, tiny algae-based capsule of D3, but the one that we use right now is called Naturello, Nature LO, Naturello.
Naturello. Okay.
Yeah, it's available online, and it's a vegan supplement too, but it is a bigger capsule, and it does have a little bit of an aftertaste, but it is what it is.
So when it comes to brands, you need to research your own brands, everybody. Yeah. Okay. All right. One more question we had about this food and supplements issue was from Francis, who has a 90-year-old mother who is in excellent health, who is vegan and has been vegan for a very long time. Are there any other specific supplements other than what we talked about that are important for her mother?
Now, and there's one other part which we're going to talk next, which is very important.
Okay.
But in terms of supplements and food and the spices we talked about, I think that's pretty much. And then, I wouldn't count it as a food or supplement, but very important aspect is your sleep quality.
Sleep. So that's maybe in the next one.
Yeah.
What about water? How about water for all of this? More, less?
It's part of your hydration, part of your nutrition. So you don't have to go by a ounce amount on how much you drink. You use two things. You decide your mouth should feel moist, and the color of your urine should be staying light yellow or transparent, and that determines how much water you drink. And when you drink water, you drink enough at a time. Just what you did is not what you do.
Right. Well, I'm on a live stream. I can't sit here drinking.
Yeah. So when you drink water, you don't sip. You drink the whole glass. Right. And then you let go for an hour that you don't need water, and then when you drink the whole glass again.
I felt my mouth being dry, which means I need to drink the whole glass as soon as we're done with this.
Yeah. So drink enough at a time, but don't sip through.
Yeah.
And don't drink too much later in the day, because if you drink too much later in the day, then you're going to be up at night using the bathroom, which affects your sleep.
Okay. So this is fascinating. Thank you so much for taking the time to go all through these. It really is fascinating. There are so many things that we really can do. So now we talked about our bodies. So now what can we do to strengthen our minds and our souls to handle the stress and the anxiety that some people are feeling about this, so that we can really help our immunity and help us get through this time?
So the very first reason that I would focus on, even before we go into the mind body aspect, is when you feed into the news negativity cycle,
Yeah.
when you keep stressing about things, you are doing the most disservice you can do to your immune system. 10 minutes of stress or anger or frustration can tank your immune system up to 5 to 6 hours. So you're doing
Yeah.
all these things to improve your immune system, getting good food and getting your supplements like the D and the B12 and zinc, and you're trying to focus on getting better sleep. But if you stay in that worrying stress mode, you are causing more damage. You're undoing all the benefits that you're trying to achieve by having a better lifestyle. So I cannot emphasize enough, for not even any other reason. If you are only looking at improving your immune system, that's a good enough reason to not worry. That's the first thing.
One of the ladies in the group, she is very worried and she is afraid of the pandemic, of the virus. Actually, she's afraid to go to her doctor's office. She's afraid to lose her job again. She's afraid that all of these rules and restrictions are going to make her life not be able to follow the plant-based diet, and she's really feeling all this. So what
No,
can she do?
so I'll start with the last one. The rules and restrictions that we have so far do not affect at all in following a plant-based routine. There is
Thank you.
there
That's
is
right.
no restriction whatsoever there. But number one, worrying about things is going to cause damage on an ongoing basis. So you are actually working against yourself.
Yeah.
On one hand, you're worrying about work and health and all the other things, which is actually affecting your immune system.
Stress
But
tanks your immune system.
but
Okay.
there are two things which you can do very effectively to help create that routine where it interrupts that worrying pattern. Number
Yeah.
one, meditation. And it could be very simple, like just closing your eyes and listening to some relaxing music and focusing on your breath. And you're taking deep breaths in and out. And you do it as a routine, not just 2 minutes, but you do it 2 minutes when you wake up, you do it 2 minutes in the middle of the day, 2 minutes again in the evening, 2 minutes again when you go to bed. And every time you feel stressed, you start deep breathing. And there are many ways to deep breathe, but basically a simple way is 2-1-4. So 2 seconds breathe in, 1 second hold, 4 seconds out.
Yeah.
When you do that, you trigger your parasympathetic nervous system, which lowers cortisol, which interrupts that pattern of stress and high cortisol. So even while you're working on your mindset, creating a pattern where you're not worrying about things, interrupting that pattern with deep breathing and meditation and relaxing music can help you get results faster, provided you
So,
do it consistently every day.
so if you felt that stress bubbling up in any situation and you just stopped and did this breathing just for a couple of minutes, would that help interrupt the pattern every time you come, so you become aware?
Yeah, it's like Tony Robbins, and he
Yeah.
describes the three things here. Focus, physiology, and words. And where our focus is can be changed by, if we change our physiology, we can go from a negative focus and mindset to a positive focus by just changing the way we breathe, or the way we stand, or the way we keep our shoulders. And the words we describe to describe our situation also carry so much meaning. So if you keep describing a situation that's all pathetic and painful and worrisome,
Afraid,
afraid
afraid.
and
Yeah,
scared, that's what your cells will feel. That's what your
yeah,
body will feel, and it's going to go into that rhythm because you're feeding it that program.
yeah.
So you need to consciously change the choice of words you make. And the simple perspective I'll offer is, it's a Persian proverb saying, I was crying about torn shoes and I saw someone without legs, and I suddenly had so much appreciation for my
Shoes.
torn shoes. So it's all about a perspective. Yes, we are in a situation which we haven't faced, at least in a long, long, long time,
Yeah,
and there are a lot of things changing. But three things, like I think I did cover it last time on the Zoom we did, but three things that I always ask myself is, am I alive? And
my alive.
if the answer is yes, are all my body parts attached to me? And if the answer is yes, then am I in any imminent danger where, I mean, what I mean by that is someone pointing a gun at you, or someone, you're in the middle of a fire, or you're drowning or something like that. And if that's no, everything else can be dealt with.
Yeah, yeah,
Waking up every morning is so much to have gratitude for. We have 7.7 or something billion people around the world, right?
yeah.
And 200,000 people do not wake up every morning
Wow,
around the world from different
wow,
causes. So waking up in the morning alive, you beat those 200,000 people.
wow. So,
So when you start your day with that mindset, it puts you in a whole different plenum, and you add the deep breathing, you can add the music, and take all the precautions that you need to take. But it puts you in a lot different trajectory than if you start with, oh boy, I need to go to work and I'm going to worry about this and this and this and this. I can tell you my example. We have a 5-month-old baby, and she came in the middle of all this pandemic,
yeah,
and I have a practice that I have to run and support a family, and we have stayed open through this. I have spent less than 2% time worrying about, what is going to happen, and 98% time focusing on what I can do to make sure I keep my health in a good shape, that I take all the necessary steps I need to take to keep my family's health in a good shape.
I
So
love
I
that.
could I could sit and whine, or I could sit and worry about saying, oh, I'm in this situation and I don't know what I'm going to do. Or I can be resourceful, like Tony says, are you being unresourceful, or are you being resourceful?
Yep,
So
exactly. What I like to tell clients when I work with clients, instead of thinking I can't, I won't, I don't, you think I can, I will, and I want. So if you start to feel that stress bubble up, you can say, I can make a plan. I can do this. I can prepare my food. I can do this. I can do that. I will do this. I will do that. And I want to do this and I want to do that. And then that tells you what to do, and then it lowers your stress.
so what Naomi is saying is basically incantations, simple incantations, that is allowing your conscious thought process to merge with your subconscious brain, because what happens in our body happens from the subconscious level. And unless your subconscious part of the brain, the brain stem, gets the message or the memo from the conscious part of your brain where you're using those incantations, and if you have relaxing music going when you're doing those incantations in the morning every day, you can actually process your subconscious more effectively.
You tell your body and your mind what you want it to do, and then it knows. So it's very powerful. Um, okay, anything else that you want to add about stress or about sleep? You mentioned sleep
Yeah,
before.
so if you have better mindset, then you're gonna also aid in getting better sleep. But
Yeah,
staying up late night watching news or watching Netflix is going to affect your sleep quality. All that blue light exposure is going to affect your sleep quality, and lower sleep quality affects your immune system. It affects your blood pressure, it affects your blood sugars. So getting good sleep while you're also working on all these things is also something you want to keep in mind, and keep it at the same priority.
And we can use these same things that you talked about, the deep breathing, the incantations, the 3 questions: am I alive? Do I have all my body parts? And am I in any imminent danger? We can use all of these tools to help us fall asleep and calm down as well.
And another thing that I would add is journaling. So when you are listening to music and doing some deep breathing, and if you have a lot of thoughts going in your brain, the best way you can get a good
Scribble them
night's
out.
sleep is scribbling it out. Just that physical process of writing it down will get your mind uncluttered, and that will get you better night's sleep than if you didn't do that.
Yeah. This is amazing, and I have, as usual, learned so much. I thank you so much for your time today, and everybody in the group. If you love Dr. Patel and you want more of Dr. Patel, he is going to be gracing us with his presence December 6th at our Redo It retreat, our weekend Florida retreat, where Dr. Patel comes and does a special Redo It RX prescription of all of these types of different tips and tricks to really up level your wellness, your immunity, your mind, your body, and your heart. And he does this at our retreats. And so we have successfully rescheduled this Redo It retreat for December 5th through 7th. And it's going to take place at Devil's Den Prehistoric Cave in the cabins and the beautiful park and surrounding areas there. And it's half sold out already, even in the middle of a pandemic. So if you still want to travel, you want to get away, and you want to have an outdoor adventure, cooking and having fun with us and doing this type of work on yourself, I invite you to reach out and ask me about that, and I'll send you the link for that. Dr. Patel, thank you so much for your time today. Do you have any parting words?
Keep a steady mind. Focus on what you can do and not what you cannot do. And try to nourish your bodies with good plant foods and a good night's sleep.
Are you available for telehealth appointments currently now, or in office, or both?
So what we do is for initial consultations, we have it in office. And I usually have one patient at a time in the office for the most part, and we wipe the surfaces and we take all the precautions. And then follow up, we can do telehealth depending on the situation. But the initial visit I prefer in person, face to face, because I can do your comprehensive exam and evaluation, and it also satisfies the criteria for a face-to-face encounter for the physician.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to know how the telehealth was going, and if the office was open. So anybody who's in.
The office is open, and we do telehealth, but the first visit we definitely do in person.
And what do you specialize in? What do you treat for?
So I'm an endocrinologist, so someone who deals with diabetes, thyroid, calcium, adrenal, issues. And I use my experience and passion for lifestyle medicine, which I'm board certified in both, and try to get people to improve their health truly and potentially come off medications as the things improve.
Like Trisha did.
Just keep adding more medications and keep feeling crappy.
Okay, so this was our time slot, and I thank you so much, Dr. Patel. So I'm going to end the live stream. Everybody in the Plant Empowered Women group, I will see you in the group. Much love to everybody, and write these things down and try these different things, okay? I'll see you all in the group.
I'll just, my parting words would be worry less and live more.
Worry less and live more. I love that. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
everyone.
Patel.
Thank you.
Bye.